everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Move Show. My name is Deshaun, and I'm here for another review of a PlayStation game for the PlayStation 5. Now, like I said when I did my review of the Spider-Man games, and I was like, this is the reason that I went, as some of you have been following, I got a PlayStation 5 like a month and some change ago. And I've been playing I originally got a PlayStation 5 because there were so many games that I never got the chance to play or that are exclusively over there that I've wanted to play. And the main game in particular that really made me want to get it was the Spider-Man game. That did not disappoint me. That was the first games I played. I played right through Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales and had a phenomenal time. But there were also a couple other games that I will also be reviewing upon completion. Well, and I can even give you a couple of them. Some of them are obvious. The Last of Us 1 and 2. God of War. Obviously, I'm thinking about playing through the entirety of the Uncharted series because I feel like I never got to play that when I was I never got to play that because it was exclusive, and that's kind of what I want to do is play through all these exclusive games that I wanted to play but never could, and then review them so you guys get to see how I felt after playing them. But one game in particular that I heard nothing but raving things about, and stuff like this happens all the time, as someone who was an Xbox player for many years, who still is to a certain extent, because I will eventually get a Series X to go along with the 5 so that I can go back and forth. But as somebody who has mostly been an Xbox user since the 360, there have been games, like, essentially, since the Xbox 360, every exclusive game up there I have not been able to play. So there are some older games that I haven't been able to play that I really want to play. Obviously, The Last of Us and things of that nature. But this review is for a game that I also had heard raving reviews about. And it came out on the older consoles, the PS4, but it works fantastically on the next gen, obviously, which is Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima, I heard so many raving reviews, game of the year, amazing game, and I heard so much about this game that I was so excited to play it. It was one of the first games that once I got the console and I was playing Spider-Man and I was still looking around, I was like, I gotta play this. And without a shadow of a doubt, Ghost of Tsushima is one of the greatest games I've ever played. I'm not bullshitting you guys. That game is amazing. And the equation that I can equate, and the only thing I can even equate it to is Red Dead Redemption 2. It is like the Japanese version of Red Dead Redemption 2. It is like... Sorry, somebody's driving by, you hear the bass of their, it distracted me for a second. But it is like, one of the things that everyone, and including myself, absolutely adored about Red Dead Redemption 2 is the feeling of authenticity in the details, in the design, in the graphics, in the characters, and it feeling so, it felt so awesome. The story felt thick, like everything about it felt cinematic. And the Red Dead franchise, the first one and 2, had this cinematic quality to it that elevated it above just an ordinary video game. And Ghost of Tsushima has that as well. It even has references to it with Kurosawa mode, where you can be black and white. But like Ghost of Tsushima has this cinematic quality to it. The way that it's, I guess shot, if you want to say, the way that it's shot, the acting, the things, certain aspects of the game itself, whether you're riding your horse through a field and the colors and all, it's so vibrant and so bloody, and it's like I said, Ghost of Tsushima is essentially, it is on par with Red Dead Redemption 2 in terms of being so cinematic and gorgeous to just look at. When I first started playing this game, I was in awe. Like, I could not awe. Now, granted, I'm playing it on a PS5, so maybe it's the graphics too, but I was in awe of the game, dude. Like, I was like, holy shit, this game looks beautiful. And I tell Seth all the time, I'm not the biggest graphic guy. I'm not. Generally speaking, like, you can ask any of my friends if you saw them anywhere. I'm not the biggest graphics guy. I'm not even the biggest, like, HD dude. Like, I used to get in arguments with my friend Willie, all the fucking time about shit like this. I used to be just like, dude, he used to be like, we gotta get this HD 4K. I'm like, blah. I just need to be able to see the fucking thing. I don't care if it's HD 4K. I don't care if it's a little blurry. As long as I can tell what's happening, I'm good. I don't need, I used to be like that. But occasionally, even for me, someone like me, there will be a game that I see and the graphics are so amazing that I can't deny that I'm like, yo, these graphics are fucking awesome. The first time I remember that happening is in a Madden game, but the most prominent time it ever happened was when they did the remake of the Tomb Raider franchise. In that game, I remember looking at the graphics and stuff and being like, holy shit, man, this looks amazing. I remember like I usually don't think about those things. And of course, Red Dead Redemption 2, I was like, oh my god, like, look at this, look at it all. And then Ghost of Tsushima follows that up in the same path of, this is a gorgeous fucking game. Now, even from a storyline perspective, it is classic Japanese. You probably, like, these are movies that Kurosawa and people were making over there, making in Japan for years, or movies that we were making about Japan. So it takes place in a, I can't even tell you what time period it was. Like, I am not the biggest historian in the world. I can't even tell you what time period it takes place in. But it's a time period where the Mongols were trying to invade Japan. Apparently it was the first attempt by the Mongols trying to invade Japan. So you play this guy named Jin Sakai. Yeah, I hope I say his name. Yeah, Sakai. You play Jin Sakai, and he is a samurai. And you have to, and the base of the game is, these Mongols have come in, they've nearly taken over your island of Tsushima, and they plan on using this island as a staging ground to invade, the mainland of Japan. It's why they invaded Tsushima. Because it's in enough proximity where they could really camp here and build something here and invade Japan. And most of all the samurai are killed right off top. And the only ones who are left, it's you and your uncle, who was captured by the head Mongol. And you're left with a choice, Jin's left with a choice as the game progresses, to either fight the honorable way as a samurai, and there's two different paths you can go in the game, which is cool. I always kind of mixed and mashed, but there's two different paths. To fight the honorable way as a samurai, which is to essentially just walk head first into any situation, no matter what. There's an entire camp full of 30 guys with arrows and, poisons and shit. Go head first into it and kill them all. Which you can do, or, as, against the samurai's code, you can be something else. You can be sneaky. You can stab people in the back. You can kill your enemies in the back. You can poison your enemies. You can do all these different things. You can become the Ghost of Tsushima, and which is essentially a fucking like a vigilante almost, really. But so there's two paths you can walk as the Ghost. I mean, as Jin, and eventually, the paths become clear. There's not a lot of choices to be made. There's a couple choices. Really, there's only two big ones, which is, how do you go about doing what you do? That's the big, choices. And Jin has to, balance. Throughout the course of the game, he is balancing this moral conundrum of his code as a samurai to the reality of the situation, which is the Mongols don't give a fuck about this code. The Mongols will not be defeated by this code. If we go by this code, we will lose the island and everyone will die. And I gotta do what the fuck I gotta do. And the code and dying honorably, and like there's this inner conflict within him that, you know, throughout the course of the game progresses and you meet different companions and whatnot. But the gameplay is crisp. The sword play is fun. It is dark. It is light. It's like a slightly lighter version of Dark Souls. And like I like the fact that there are different styles and you have different sword styles for different opponents. If you're fighting a guy with a shield, you have a different sword style. If you're fighting a guy with a spear, you should use a different sword style. If you're fighting a bigger guy, you should use a different sword style. So it lends itself to you having to really think about every situation you go into. There's also this really cool feature called a standoff where you can just walk up and call out the best guy or guys there, and it's like a reflex kind of mode where you have to release a button quick enough to attack them. But the actual visual of it is so awesome, of just the shing, shing, shing. I'm like, dude, it's so fucking cool. It never got old. Never got old. I did it a billion times and never got old. It never gets old walking up to 5 fucking Mongols raising hell, challenging them. They all kind of gather up on you. One guy steps up. Well, bam, killed him. Another guy comes. Bam, killed him. Bam, killed him. Bam, killed him. Bam, killed him. You just killed like 5 dudes in like 4 seconds. And it's like, that's badass. It just is. And like I said, the upgrading system is really cool. Some of the stuff you unlock is really cool. Most of all the characters are very fascinating and very interesting. Like I said, you get the vibe of where it's going. Like once it kind of reaches a point, you get the vibe of where it's going. But overall, man, this game is just awesome, dude. I literally have one complaint about the entire game, and that is that I really wish that, I know maybe this would be a little gimmicky and maybe it wouldn't fit, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the fact that, like, you could not find new, like, I don't know what the word to put. I wish you could have found stuff like weapons and stuff. Like, you would find like a legendary bow, and it's just a bow. Or you would get some, or find, I wish that you could get more shit. It's just the gist of it. I wish that when you got a bow, like you're basically just finding different skins for your sword. And I was like, well, I wish I could just get different stuff. Like I wish I could get, an upgrade on the sword in a certain way. Maybe it sets someone on fire. Maybe it does this. I wish there was more flexibility with the different things there. And don't get me wrong, there are some really cool stuff in it. But all I remember walking away from this game is like, man, like there was some missed opportunities. But overall, Ghost of Tsushima is one of the greatest games of all time. It's one of my favorite games of all time. By the time I beat that game, I have 80% done that game. By the time I beat the main story, I was just like, damn, man. Like, to put it in perspective, I love this game so much that for a straight week, I stopped playing it because I didn't want it to end. But anyways, I would give Ghost of Tsushima a 10 out of 10. It is an amazing game. If you have a PlayStation and you have not played it, do yourself a favor and get it. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comment Move Show. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.